In the relegation zone at the foot of the Courage League. Let's now join our commentary team of Jamie Salmon and Miles Harrison.
In store then, a real test of the mental resolve of both teams. Gloucester simply cannot afford to lose. Another defeat for Bristol will pull them dangerously close to the relegation zone. Of course, it could be that the RFU are about to send out the lifeboat to all those near rocky waters, but such rumours, well, they're counterproductive today, and Paul Hull, the skipper of Bristol, will know that. His side, the constant underachievers. Great roar for Gloucester. They've had a good 1996 Cup semi-final, but that will mean very little at the end of the season if they slip out of Division 1. Still 4 points adrift at the bottom. Team news then. The teams have been complicated by last-minute changes. For Gloucester, Lloyd, Caskey and Smith are all missing, injured. So notably, there's a return for winger Paul Holford, who was the league's joint leading try scorer last season, but hasn't scored since September the 30th during this campaign. 6 changes for Bristol from the original selection. They're without 4 locks. England men Archer and Regan are both out with knee injuries, but they do include 4 internationals in Hull, Thomas, Bracken and Alan Sharp. And there are probably at least 2 future internationals on the pitch in Bristol's Martin Corrie and Gloucester's Phil Greening. Should be an exciting afternoon. Poor Hull. Just trying to concentrate the mind on the job in hand. As will Stuart Piercy, our referee this afternoon. Linked up with the touch judges. Always a good atmosphere for this local derby. And it's Bristol who will kick off with Arwell Thomas, their fly half. It's brightening up all the time. It's been a fairly murky day, quite chilly as well, considering the beautiful day in these parts yesterday. But the conditions for rugby are good. And it's good afternoon to Jamie.
Yes, good afternoon. Absolutely right. The conditions are good for rugby. The pitch is in excellent condition. There should be no excuses there. And certainly, I think Bristol, with a loss of the 2 England players, and Archer and Regan, really might have to spread the ball wider than they perhaps wanted to. But it's a big day for Bristol as well as Gloucester. But obviously, the home side, Gloucester, they need the points desperately. And I expect to see them give everything this afternoon.
Well, they try the back row move early on, and it seems to have worked. Some holes there. It was Corrie who drove on, but the referee penalises Bristol for not releasing after the tackle was made. There's Martin Corrie getting above the floor.
Well, this is what Martin Corrie's been doing for Bristol and England A all season. He certainly got turned the wrong way by Glanville. Super tackle from him. And that first attack from Bristol is sent packing by the Gloucester defence.
So the first line out of the match. And this is a problem area for Bristol, certainly in terms of selection. They've lost so many players, and Phil Adams with an ankle injury, and Bob Armstrong, who was drafted in yesterday evening, he's been forced to pull out as well. But it's Phil Greening to throw for Gloucester. Raymond tapped it back. Awkward ball for Kimber, and it's well rescued by Damien Cummins. Kimber again. Arwell Thomas is getting underneath this. He would never look as if he was going to take the catch, did he? And the ball was knocked forward.
Well, it turned into a super kick, and Arwell Thomas was twisting and turning, looking for it. You'll see him there. He's looking at the ball admittedly, but he's misjudged it. And this surface we were talking about is hard, so the bounce could go anywhere, and that's going to be a big problem. Paul Hull, the Bristol captain and fullback, just coming in a frame there. But look at the bounce as well. Going to be awkward this afternoon. First scrum will be interesting too. We spoke about the line-outs just a moment ago. And certainly young Lathrop, who's come in for Regan, Bristol hooker. Not a big man. He's going to be under a lot of pressure in there.
Picked up by Raymond. Glanville goes with him. Such a consistent player Pete Glanville, and that was good ball presentation again. Greening tries to blast through the middle. Watch out for him, the shaven head, it's quite unmistakable, and it's led to a Gloucester penalty here as Bristol go over the top, and this is very kickable.
Yes, indeed, very kickable indeed. Stuart Piercy, the referee, going over the top. Certainly there seem to be a few studs around there too.
So an early chance at goal for Gareth Fenwick, the Gloucester fullback. Famous rugby name, and he is in fact related to Steve Fenwick, the former Welsh international who got himself 30 caps back in the 70s and just into the 80s. Well, this is Gareth, 22 years of age, and his first attempt at goal. It was a nice strike. It never looked as if it was going to miss. It was a good start for Gareth Fenwick. And for Gloucester, 3-0 they lead.
That will give him great confidence. He's obviously keeping Mapletoft out the side, who's had that horror knee injury for the last year or so. So if he keeps kicking like that, then Richard Hill, director of coaching here, will be very happy indeed. Good start for Gloucester.
Glanville takes it again. One of those unselfish players. Benton nicely off the floor as well. Greening again was the extra man in the middle, and it's helped out Gloucester here. Peters wants it. It wasn't the pass that he wanted, though. And Bristol have managed to turn it over. They've done well, the Bristol forwards, and poor Hull's kick.
Yes, they did very well to turn it over because Gloucester, a bit of confidence, 3-0 up, ran the ball first time. Ball didn't quite get to Peters, who's pretty quick on this right wing, I can tell you, for Gloucester.
Greening to Fiddler, two young men in the Gloucester pack with great futures in front of them. This is Raymond. Off to Greening. Benton being held there, and the referee quite rightly gives a penalty. The scrum half impeded.
Every time Greening gets the ball, there's a sort of level of expectancy from the crowd here. That's the penalty there, being held back. Scott Benton, the Gloucester scrum half. This time, Gloucester going down the line.
And how? Martin Kimber's kick. He's been growing in confidence with Scott Benton alongside him, and that's no disrespect to Bruce Fenley, who's been forced out of the side by Benton, but he's some prospect, the Gloucester scrum half, and it's helping Kimber. Fiddler just couldn't take that one cleanly, but Gloucester doing good work at the tail. And driven on as well. Someone will have to come in and play scrum half. It was Sims, the captain. Now Benton can play it. Deacon with the drive. Now, will he put the backs away? It's Kimber. Moving the centre as they bring in Roberts on the crash ball. Good ball from the pack, isn't it? Nice work from Kimber. It was neat. It just didn't quite work. Joel Pearson's across to work this back for Bristol. Bracken. And it's Mike Peters forced to go back, across from the right wing. But the Gloucester backs getting the ball there and looking dangerous.
Yes, they certainly were. You see Kimber coming across. It's a wide ball. Now, it's certainly Holford coming through at pace there, who just couldn't hold on. Certainly his angle was good, his pace was good, but unfortunately he was just a bit ahead of the ball, and Bristol cleared the danger.
Back upfield, there's an injury to Paul Hull, so he's not involved in this movement for Bristol. And it was knocked on at the line out anyway. Gloucester will get the put in. And Paul Hull's okay. I know Stuart was talking before the kick-off about this battle at scrum half between Bracken and Benton. It should be one of the major features of the game. And now it's back to Kimber. Craig Barrow under it. There's Corrie, playing second row today, but he'll get through a lot of work in the loose. His normal position, of course, back row. Thomas, long drop goal. And Fenwick with the catch, and then looking to move it quickly, but
well, I hope Bristol's ambitions this afternoon go beyond drop goals from 40 yards out. They will need to go for that. Would have been better off getting some continuity, getting the backs involved, getting the centres involved. Certainly Martin and Maggs want something.
And those Gloucester forwards piling through again. Deacon, formerly the skipper here. Now, did he manage to fall the right way when he was tackled? The right way as far as Gloucester are concerned. And the referee, after some deliberation, gives Bristol the put-in with the ball in the air after the tackle. There's Kieran Bracken putting in 11 caps for England, but on the bench all season and facing opposition from the likes of Scott Benton arriving on the scene. Also think of Gummersall and Healy, and of course the England scrum half Matt Dawson. So it's a competitive area, the scrum half berth, and here goes Bracken now. Maggs is with him. Will Thomas onto Gavin Sharp. Can he get away from Peters? Sharp for the corner, and the referee's given the try. So Bristol right back in the match. Gavin Sharp getting his chance because of an injury to Jason Cater. Well, he's taking his opportunity well.
Yes, he certainly is. The high kick once again bobbled. That's what caused it. And Bristol claimed the loose ball. And then once Bracken put it wide, Sharp against Peters. Well, Peters did well to get across. Just hold him down. But I think it's the momentum that takes him over. That's what the referee's given it for. Here we go. We'll see the wide pass now. Now, if you hold it there, you'll see how when Sharp gets the ball in here, Peters has actually got the angle on him. And much as he makes the tackle, it's just a little bit too late. Both quick. Peters does very well, but it's just not quite enough. You'll see the touch judge there also saying to the referee, good enough.
Will Thomas with the kick. He started it a long way right, and he just hasn't brought it back in. But Bristol are on the board, and it was a good try as well.
There's a super high kick from Bracken that led to it all. As we see the final moments once again. But really, Gloucester, when they couldn't control that high ball, were in trouble. The defence was in disarray. And Bristol got across.
Bracken with the dummy. And a good kick from Will Thomas. He's blown hot and cold, hasn't he, this season, Thomas?
Yes, it's obviously been a big learning curve for him. He's moved clubs, he's got into the Bristol side, he's played in the first division in England for the first time, he's played international rugby for the first time, and realised what a cauldron that is. So certainly I hope he can put that in the bank, so to speak, and come out next year and still go for those international honours. Good player.
And he made such an impressive league debut against Gloucester earlier in the season. And now he'll get it from Bracken's pass. Little chip through. Away goes Breeze, but it's beaten him. I think Thomas was looking for touch anyway.
Yes, indeed, and you wonder as this game unfolds that the critical input that these two are going to have. By that I mean Bracken at scrum half and Arwell Thomas at fly half. They obviously get the ball more times than anybody else, so therefore they can dictate the pattern of the game, and certainly they've got vastly more experience than their opponents, Benson and Kimber.
Greening has to hit his man. Sims touched it, but it came back on the Bristol side. Bracken was swallowed up, so Joel Pearson goes across. There is no scrum half there for Bristol, restricting their options, and Holford, to the delight of the home crowd, got it away, but it was a penalty anyway to Gloucester.
Yes, holding on to the ball by Bristol, and they got isolated. There wasn't enough support there. The Gloucester forwards did very well. They stayed on their feet. They didn't kill the ball. They tried to go for it. And Bristol will be very disappointed not to have turned that pressure into some sort of points. Makes you wonder, when they get down there, you'd normally bank on an Archer or a Shaw, wouldn't you? But you know, let's not just forget, it's Shaw as well that's missing from this engine room of Bristol, and obviously Regan, who throws the ball in so well.
The referee there taking the penalty, because what it means is that Gloucester have the throw into the line out. They would not have had this throw had Holford's original kick been allowed to stand. Good refereeing. This is Benton. Referee playing advantage. Penalty given to Gloucester. The early thoughts then of Stewart.
Well, Miles, I feel that Gloucester looks sharper as a team, but the one man who's impressed me so far has been Bristol's Kieran Bracken. He put Gloucester under pressure when they're winning ball with good chasing. His kicking's been accurate. His passing's accurate. He's threatened them. He looks sharp. He hasn't looked good this season, but today he looks on song. And if Bracken can play, then perhaps Bristol could come out of this lethargic spell.
Yes, been frustrated at international level this season with Matt Dawson taking over at number 9 for England, but it's been a good start for Bracken and for Thomas alongside him. They've looked an accomplished half-back pairing so far. Injury there to Craig Barrow. Bristol can ill afford another man to be out of their side. They've lost so many this week.
Especially one at 6'5". They need all the height they can get at the moment.
Yes, there was a thought that Barrow would move up into the second row with the latest withdrawal, that of Armstrong, but Corrie has stepped forward. Gloucester get the drive going. Sims takes it on. It was Stanley who went driving over the top, and the other flanker, Glanville, who sets it back, or does he? Yes, he's done enough. Well played again. Kimber. Now it's Big Roberts. Off to Kimber again. He's a bit of a drop goal specialist, is Martin Kimber, but he's not got the right result that time. Scored 4 drop goals this season in the league. And that one not too far away.
Yes, indeed, not a fair option, I suppose. There wasn't too many outside him, and Bristol had certainly stood off that ruck and maul.
Here's Fenwick on the counter-attack for Gloucester. It's good open stuff, this. Well taken by Bracken. He'll need some support. Eventually he gets it, and it was Corrie again. He's had an excellent season for England, Martin Corrie. Thomas just managed to evade Kimber, but not just that, it was a super kick as well. Peters in trouble.
Yes, absolutely right. I mean, this is supposed to be his wrong foot, and I tell you what, he's hit that absolutely plumb. Just as I was mentioning before, look at the height of that ball when it bounces on this hard ground. That spring really is here.
Andy Lathrop will throw into this line out. Bracken, the reverse pass to Thomas. Simon Martin in the centre. And he's done well. Here comes Max. Has played on the wing this year, but he was given no chance to advance there. No penalty given.
Yeah, I think the Gloucester players just stood their ground. As Mag went through and put the chip in, they just stood their ground, and Mags happened to collide with them and came off second best, because I think it was Dave Sims. I think this is an important period of play because Bristol have suddenly upped a couple of gears and they're putting a bit of pressure on Gloucester, so they've got to be careful, Gloucester, here.
The touch judge on this near side is spotting something untoward here.
Well, yeah, I think it was Greening and Lathrop, and it didn't seem to be too much to it, to be frank with you. And you'll see after Greening throws the ball in, right at the front of the line out there, Greening just pulls back Lathrop. Lathrop has a bit of a go, and that's the end of it. So if that's what the touch judge has pulled it up for, it's handbag stuff, really, isn't it?
It's Ian Lambert, the touch judge, talking to Stuart Pearcey. And Phil Greening is about to get the lecture.
I tell you, it's a harsh call, I think. It's a harsh call from the touch judge, because this could conceivably cost them 3 points. There it is at the front. Now he pulls Lathrop back. Now, you know, Lathrop could be seen in offside position there. Touch judge has come in. I'm not sure that's foul or dangerous play, to be frank with you.
It does seem harsh, I agree with that, and Bristol have a chance here for 3 points. Now he's pulled this one the other way. So maybe justice was done in the end.
Yes, I think so, but poor old Thomas, he pulled that badly. That should be a regulation 3 points, no question, and should have extended the lead to 8-3. As it is, still 5-3 to Bristol. But Gloucester, really, they've got to start getting their game together.
Set back by Hinkins. This is Thomas, and Paul Hull comes into the line. The home defence, though, good. It's taken away from Thomas by Martin. Keeping the pressure on Bristol. That was Simon Martin, their centre, formerly with Gloucester Colts.
Yes, Bristol doing the right thing. They're playing another game in the last third of the pitch and in the 22 of Gloucester, and they'll want to turn these pressure into points. Disappointing, obviously, that Thomas couldn't convert that previous chance.
Well, Phil Greening has to get this one spot on, and didn't he? Dave Sims was the other half of the partnership. And off to Kimber. Wasn't the greatest pass from Benton, but it worked very well, that for Gloucester.
Yes, indeed, but they've only moved 10 metres or so up the field. Well played, the pair of them, the hooker and the lock. Wouldn't believe how much time they spend each week just rehearsing that, practicing that on pretty, what can be, dark and gloomy nights in Gloucester. I'm not saying it's always like that, because we're surrounded by the Gloucester faithful in the stand here.
Kimber again. The penalty has been given again against Greening for a bit of work off the ball.
Well, I didn't see the incident in question, but he stands out from the crowd, Greening, doesn't he, for fairly obvious reasons. Not too many 20-year-olds that don't have a fair covering of hair.
Offered an amazing amount of money, we read, by Newcastle, but he's turned that down. And is rumoured to have said that he would play for Gloucester for nothing. I'm sure that won't be the case in years to come. He will be looked after, but he's very much a local man and proud of it.
A few agents might be ringing up now saying, hey son, I can make you a bubble too, rely on me.
Thomas is having a poor day with the boot, is Arwell Thomas. And Brian Hanlon, the outgoing Bristol coaching director, he leaves at the end of the season after the Middlesex Sevens. He was telling me just before kick-off, well, he'll be disappointed with the form of Arwell Thomas.
Well, Gloucester aren't helping themselves here. Man in front of the kick. Scrum back on the 22. Gloucester put in. Good chance for them, and Gloucester can't afford this. They're in a real lapse at the moment, aren't they?
I think it was Greening again. He was straight in front. It's not been a good start to the match for Phil Greening. That's Pearson who lost it on the tackle. Rollitt tries to take it on. But well played, Glanville. I keep saying that. And I've been impressed with the Gloucester number 6 so far. Here's Kimber.
Well, Gloucester have done well to get out there, because certainly it was a good Bristol back row move. They got beyond the gain line, but their ball retention was poor. And it was only this man, Glanville, who's really been the pick of the forwards, I think, so far from Gloucester, who managed to drive it back. And therefore, Gloucester were able to relieve the pressure through this Kimber kick. And really, Gloucester have got to regroup. They could probably do with a little break in play so that Dave Sims, the captain, could say, listen, lads, let's just realise the urgency of this situation.
2, 3, 4, 8.
And some barging at the tail of the line out.
I tell you what, this is within Thomas's range too. You know, it's it's between 10-metre line and halfway line, and indeed he's going for it, because there's little wind here, and the footing is so good.
And Thomas needs a good kick.
He's been straight. I think he's been getting underneath the ball a bit. He hasn't been getting the distance, certainly on those closer ones. It's really been up and under type kicks, and he hasn't really found his rhythm and his timing, and he's got to rely on that rather than trying to put too much power into the kicks.
Well, here's a chance to blow out the cobwebs. He's got the distance this time, hasn't he? Oh, super kick. What a fine response from young Arwell Thomas.
Yes, indeed, and certainly you have to say that Bristol deserved some reward for the pressure they were putting on. It's ironic, isn't it, that it's the hardest kick of all that goes over, the one from furthest out, but such is the way of goal kickers, I suppose.
Well, it's nothing to lose, I suppose, with a kick like that. And it was the right decision by Thomas to say, look, give me the ball, I need a kick like this. Stuart, I'm sure you've got observations on that.
Yeah, that was an important kick for Arwell, Thomas and Bristol, because Thomas's confidence is frail, and for the Bristol team in general, after that spell of pressure, you really do need to convert it into points. And if it had been 0 out of 4, Bristol would think, well, heck, we've done a lot of good work, we've got no reward, now Gloucester are in our half. So they needed that. That was an important and a great kick.
Typically Gloucester, that drive. And Benton, his kick is meant for Peters, but it's far too close to Sharp, but he is showing signs of frailty himself. Gavin Sharp, where's he going? Poor Hull gets them out of that hole, but there was unnecessary pressure there for Bristol.
Yes, it certainly was, and Paul Hull kept cool, that's for sure. Poor old Sharp. I mean, the kick was far too deep. It was a poor kick from Benton, to be honest with you. But he made life difficult with himself there and with his teammates, because he suddenly started disappearing off and fortunately got a pass back to Hull.
Bit of pulling at the line out this time by Gloucester. And the referee thumbing his way through the rule book, especially the line-out section. Just said to the players, I'll get most of them in during the course of the afternoon.
Yeah, and Stuart Piercy, the referee, is like that. He's got attention to detail. He's always going to give a few penalties away, and players have had him enough times to know that.
Now who wants this? Raymond eventually. Kimber with Lathrop coming through. Martin Kimber with that kick for Gloucester, scored in the meeting between the two sides at the Memorial Ground earlier in the season. As we said earlier, a fine drop goal record.
I don't think Gloucester won a stop-start game. I think Bristol will be a lot happier with that situation, i.e. going from line-out to line-out, scrum to line-out, call it what you will. And I think Gloucester need more fluidity to their game and continuity, and at the moment they're not getting it, and as a result they're struggling.
It was Fontaine's when at the line-out, and here goes Gavin Sharp on the chase for Bristol. Letter E, and Fenwick good underneath the high ball, but he needs support now from his colleagues. And it's Benton. And Paul Hull just touched that into touch. And on the bench today for Gloucester, M.Mapletoft still finding his way back after that long layoff with the cruciate knee problem, but always a sense of humour. But I'm sure Mapletoft will be first to admire these skills shown today by Gareth Fenwick, who hasn't put a foot wrong, full back. And like Mapletoft, he's a versatile player, has played at fly half as well as full back. So Gloucester do have options in key positions, I'm sure, when Mapletoft is back to full fitness. Here's Martin Kimber, very keen to hang on to the number 10 jersey, and giving it away that time to Hull, who gives it straight to Peters. Now what can Mike Peters do? When he gets going, he can really fly. This is Benton. And that's a super kick from Benton.
Well, he's lucky it went into touch, but if it had gone dead, he would have got a roasting, because obviously Peters, the right winger, was in the ruck. So therefore there was no way there was going to be anybody from Gloucester chasing it. And you can see, obviously Peters is the last man to get up from the wall. Unfortunately the ball goes into touch. All well and good. If Bristol win the line out and kick it back again, it's been a nothing kick.
He was born in Bradford, but he was the talk of Yorkshire rugby, Scott Benton, before his move to Gloucester. And the ball being knocked forward in the line out.
Well, the crowd certainly disagree somewhat with that decision. Well, they don't now, can't do now with Gloucester's put in.
Peters is herring in from the right wing. He did release straight away. And the referee has given Gloucester the penalty, because Bristol, having momentarily thought they'd secured the ball, find themselves preventing release. Let's have a look here. Yes, they did get the ball, and according to the referee, they did hold on.
But harsh, I thought that actually. I thought Bristol did quite well to get the ball off Peters, and certainly seemed to be in control on it. Bracken seemed to go in for the ball. I think it was that man Glanville round the fringes again, just making sure they didn't. But this is a real bonus issue for Gloucester. They haven't been down here for some time.
Fenwick for Gloucester. So he cuts the gap to just 2 points as we approach half-time.
Gloucester kicked by number 15, G.Fenwick.
Yes, and the crowd will come alight a bit now. There doesn't seem to be the air of the urgency required by Gloucester in their perilous state in the first division at the moment, and they're going to have to play a lot better than this to make sure they get 2 points this afternoon.
Well, of course, the rumours about relegation and the lack of relegation, they're wicked rumours, aren't they, as far as the players are concerned. They don't want that to be in the mind at all at this stage of the season. They just want to be thinking of the black and white situation of stay up or go down.
Well, they've got to assume there is relegation, haven't they? And certainly, as you rightly say, it's a ludicrous situation that clubs and players find themselves in at the moment. But for all they know, 2 go down, and this game is critical to Gloucester.
Martin Corrie is equipping himself very well in the second row. High ball from Thomas. Awkward this one though for Fenwick, and he lost that. And certainly knocked it forward. The referee just letting it go to see if there's sufficient advantage. There isn't, and this should be a Bristol put-in.
And this could be very costly, really. Perhaps there's a bit more wind up there than we realised, but really that he was not really in a good position to take that high ball. The hands weren't pointing to the ball for a start. They went in the sky. There's no point having your hands around your hips.
Bracken, Thomas, tried to find Hull. Holford came in and knocked on.
Well, it wasn't very convincing, was it? And Bristol really, this ruck ball came back. Hull was in there. It was all fairly awkward. Breeze was ahead of the ball on the right wing. And Holford would have been dreaming of glory with the ball in his hands, but alas, it wasn't to be.
So just about 5 minutes until the interval. This a vital period. Another knock on.
Pretty mediocre back row moves, times 2 from Bristol in the last couple of minutes, to be frank with you, and really they're not being clinical and penalising Gloucester for the mistakes they're making.
Well, one thing's for certain, Pearson, Rollitt and Barrow would not have trained together this week. So many disruptions to the Bristol team. And another penalty goes Gloucester's way. Supporters try and lift their team with half-time just around the corner. Now it's Benton. Kimber finds Glanville on the shoulder, but there was very little the flanker could do. And offside, the reason for the penalty. Bristol once again feel a little bit aggrieved by that. They thought they'd turned Glanville and it was coming back on their side, but here's Gloucester with Greening. But for not retiring 10 metres, the referee has let the penalty stand for Gloucester. There's Greening's knock on, which mattered for nothing in the end. Fenwick's going to have another go at goal.
Well, even if he had caught it, he would have been isolated and put Gloucester in trouble anyway. You can't just stand off like that by yourself. You've got to go in pairs, really. But certainly, G.Fenwick has a chance to take Gloucester into, not convinced is a deserved half-time lead, to be frank with you.
No, it's Bristol with the try, but Gloucester maybe with the lead. Kicked over 5 penalties and 2 conversions in the last 2 games, Gareth Fenwick. This is his first real pressure kick. Give his side a major boost if they were to turn round at half-time in the lead. Well, they won't, and Fenwick, maybe realising the importance of that, just snatched at the kick.
Yes, well, as I said before, I don't think Gloucester deserved to go in half-time ahead.
Deacon's catch. Glanville was held by Rollitt. And the penalty again. Bristol killing the ball at the route. There's another chance for Fenwick. A half littered with penalties. And a chance for Fenwick to make immediate amends. And Hull gets it away. Nothing wrong with the style, just not the end result that he wanted.
No, that's right. He's sort of remained confident in himself, because this looks like it's going to be a close game. It doesn't look as though one side is going to break away or break clear or get 10, 15 points up. So there could be some more critical kicks to come.
Here's Fiddler. In comes Peters at pace. Just like to come in off that wing. Benton, Sims, Gloucester try and lift it, raise their game, but they've been turned over and Barrow comes away with it. Corrie is there. Bracken to Thomas. And that has been taken by Holford, and that's a bad knock-on as well. Referee should let it go because Sharp hacks on and Thomas alive to the threat still, chases through on Cummins.
Well, Gloucester aren't helping themselves, are they? They lost the ball in contact when they had good forward momentum going. And then they made another silly, unenforced error when they dropped the high ball, and it was only, I think it was Cummins coming across that cleared the danger. But really, to lose 60, 70 yards like that is not good play at all.
The game has rather faded as the half has gone on. Let's hope for better things in the second period. Started in a bright and breezy fashion, and we had a good try, didn't we, from Bristol, but since then it's gone a little downhill.
Well, the quality certainly has, and the level of skill certainly has, because there's been mistakes going into contact, there's been everything, as the hooter sounds.
And the referee agrees that is in fact half-time. But the tension is still there, certainly is for Gloucester. They can't afford to lose this match. Gareth Fenwick will want to rediscover his kicking form. Bristol then with that first half try scored by Gavin Sharp. But it could come down to a battle of the kickers. Fenwick against Thomas. Half-time situation.
As well. They can't sit on their laurels, obviously. It's only 9-8. But really, they've got to pick it up a gear, and they've really got to take the game back to Bristol.
Benton, the scrum half for Gloucester. And Kimber. Again, it was Lathrop who was quickly through. But Kimber had the time. And there's Alan Davis, formerly in charge of Wales and in league days, Nottingham, now at the helm at Bristol. Bracken, Thomas, it's Maggs. Bracken again, always snapping away. Greening was trying to get through, but he was thrown off the ball. This is Ben Breeze, the young winger. Bracken, Thomas, Corrie. Bracken. The referee is playing advantage for offside against Gloucester. And that is why the penalty has been given.
Well, just what Gloucester did not want. And I feel that, as we see, this is Bracken going through here. And I think it's probably for killing the ball from Gloucester that the referee penalised them for. But I feel Gloucester are missing Ian Smith, the Scottish flanker who plays down here, who had such a good Five Nations Championship for Scotland. The amount of loose ball that's going around today, it's ideal for him. And he's a great one for clearing that up as we look at Kieran Bracken with that little half break he made there.
Arwell Thomas, who scored a try last week against Bath, but his kicking that matters now. 1 from 4 is not a good record.
So he leads swinging back to Bristol.
Yeah, well, he caught hold of this one all right, and certainly the ones from distance he seems to have relatively no problem with. But it's the close-up ones that he's missed today.
And Thomas calling for the mark there.
He doesn't look as though he's playing with confidence, though, does he? He doesn't look happy with his game, doesn't look happy at all in all facets of it. He's not really seemingly that interested, I have to say, as well, and obviously not all is right. But he is a quality player, make no mistake about that.
Well, it's been a bit of a roller coaster, can't even say it, roller coaster for him this season. Emotionally.
See, another mistake from Gloucester. Again, it was, you know, it was on for all money to go through there and go through that gap. It was a tap ball from the line out. But another knock-on gives Bristol the chance, and I dare say Bracken will put it back in the box again. Kick over the top, put pressure on Holford and Fenwick at the back.
Bracken's kick. But that time Fenwick was safe enough underneath the high ball. Nothing coming back from there. And Bristol get the foot in, but there's an injury here to Gareth Fenwick.
Yes, he went down very badly, took the ball very well. It was a tackle in here, and therefore it was just in that turn there, and the studs may have got caught in the turf, but certainly M.Mapletoft will have to warm up here.
Chris Stevenson, the Gloucester physio, requires additional help. This is Stuart Barnes.
Jamie's point about Arwell Thomas not playing with confidence, I agree with Jamie. One of the things that is disappointing me is Thomas isn't organised in his midfield. Now, that Bristol midfield is not one of the most potent in the English league, which I think is an understatement, but he's getting the ball at the moment and they're not coming from deep at all. So the midfield is looking extremely static and Bristol are just getting stuck. There's no width, there's no depth, so Bristol seem rather constipated in the middle, and Thomas seems a bit head down about not being able to resolve the problems.
Well, I'll tell you, just carrying on from that, Stuart, I spoke to Alan Davis, the coach, before the game, and he was saying that he needs a 35, 36-year-old midfield general in there. I did tell him that we were both unavailable. So we could forget about that one. But they are inexperienced, certainly. Martin and Mags in the Bristol midfield, as we see a sad sight here of Fenwick coming off.
Yes, Gareth Fenwick goes, and rather ironic that the man out for so long with an injury of his own, M.Mapletoft, who made that dramatic return for the Cup semi-final. Comes onto the field then, Mapletoft. It's a straight swap, full-back for full-back. Bracken. Now he's trying to put pressure on Mapletoft straight away, and it could well have worked here. It was a well-judged kick by Bracken. Barrow looks long, and there's men out wide for Bristol if they can keep it alive. It's picked up by Breeze. And there were plenty of blue shirts there. Now it's Barrow, but there are hardly any blue shirts now out wide, and there was only Simon Martin outside Barrow. Kimber, and it's Thomas and Hull who have to go back, and steaming up is Mike Peters. Thomas can't afford to take too much time here. Peters is on him, and he's going to catch him. Thomas just got it down.
Well played, Mike Peters. He said, I've run 90 yards virtually, I'm going to make a tackle at the same time. Oh, well, Thomas had no idea, and just put the ball down in time. In some ways, Thomas was saved by the try line, because Peters really did look marvellous coming up then. But these high kicks from Bracken are causing a bit of havoc in the Gloucester defence. Good option with Mapletoft just coming on to test him out. But again, poor attention, they lost it. Bad kick-off here.
All of a sudden, the crowd right into the match now, as they should be. Local derby like this means such a lot in these parts. And maybe that's one reason for the errors that keep on coming. There's another knock-on.
Well, you can accept a few, to be frank with you, but you can't accept the amount we're getting at the moment, to be honest. And certainly it's very nervy from both sides, really.
Raymond. Stanley ties it in. Loyal servant of the Gloucester club. This is Benton. Sims. Clean shirt of Maple.
Well, neither side can get this continuity going. It was a
Great run by Sims. Mapletoft, of all people, I think, was up there in support with him, getting his first touch of the afternoon. And then as the ball came back, it was knocked on, I think, by Deacon, the prop. And Bristol have a chance to relieve the pressure. But that's the sort of continuity they want. They want the Sims of this world charging at the Bristol defence, asking questions.
So just 2 points in it. Less than half an hour to go, and Sims has got to start to become the dominating factor for his team, the captain. And he did well there. This is Greening. It should be Gloucester ball. Lathrop tries to work it back for Bristol. As the boots go in, the referee decides that's enough. There's Andy Lathrop. Didn't do enough.
Well, at least they retained possession that time, and they've got the scrum as well. Dave Sims, very much the man in charge. I think it's Glanville down now on the blind side, flanker, and he's been one of the more effective ones this afternoon. They won't want to lose him.
Well, you never see Pete Glanville have a bad game. And along with Ian Smith, who normally plays in the Gloucester back row, that is a fair breakaway duo, isn't it?
Oh, no question. They combine well, as I mentioned before. I feel that obviously you would miss somebody like Ian Smith, obviously, in such a game like this, but Ian Smith tends to pick up the scraps and Glanville tends to take them on, you know, and they work very well in unison.
Interestingly there, M.Mapletoft still wearing the strapping on the knee that was the cause of his long layoff. 14 months out of the game he was.
Yes, he was on the rugby club on Thursday and enjoyed his company immensely, and he was saying what a hard haul back it's been. But he's back on the field, and that's what he wants, as he has time to have a stretch now.
As you can see, Glanville okay again, and this is his run. Barrow tries to turn him. Again, Bristol prevented from getting the ball. It seems to be coming back on their side, and there's a lot of frustration out there for the Bristol forwards. They feel that the decisions have gone against them. I'm sure over the course of the 80 minutes it all evens itself out, but that's not necessarily how players in the heat of the battle view things. And that scrum going round beyond 90 degrees.
Yes, but for the first time in the afternoon, Gloucester got a bit of a nudge on, didn't they, on Bristol's ball, and certainly they'll want to try and exploit that if they can and disrupt this Bristol scrummage. And certainly Stuart Pearce, he wants it all straight and even for Kieran Bracken to put the ball in.
The ball coming straight out.
But in a game like this, where it's going to be decided on penalties, it's going to be a close-run thing to the wire, I think. And certainly, you know, Bristol the ones in danger here if the scrum goes down, because they're obviously defending.
Benton being told to leave Bracken alone. It's buckling up front. And eventually it goes to Thomas. And he's sliced another kick. Mapletoft. He's got Peters with him, and that was good hands from Peters, finding Holford, bouncing off one and still going. Now, what can Gloucester do from here? It's still alive and it didn't go forward, but it's been stolen by Barrow. Here's Ben Breeze. Taking on Kimber. It looked as if he was riding Ben Breeze in the National for a moment.
Well, he's a very positive runner, as Ben Breeze. He just puts his head back and goes for it. But really, Mapletoft, having taken the ball well and linked up very well with Peters, as you can see next to him. It was on here, and it comes back. Holford then goes in. And it's good continuity play, it's what they want. But look at this pass, just doesn't go to hand. Barrow picks up. Suddenly, Bristol are away as Breeze comes through, pushing off Kimber. If he wasn't there, it's only the touchline that probably saves Gloucester.
Ben Breeze carrying a bit of weight. Martin Kimber, that weight. Mapletoft will be enjoying this, back in the fray, and the atmosphere building all the time. This is where he's wanted to be for so long, on the field. Kimber. Missed move in the centre, finds Cummins. Straight to Paul Hull. Now Hull can run, we know that. What a lovely, mazy run from Hull. Needs some support. And he's been penalised for holding in. The support wasn't there. That was always the danger.
Well, as you rightly said, it was a marvellous run off the step, straight through the middle. Absolutely superb run from Paul Hull.
Well, Scott Benton's just put in a similar kind of run, and here he is again. There's a fight off the ball. The referee lets it go with Greening. Sharp's involved, and Sims for Gloucester. There's Alan Sharp.
Well, it's suddenly become pretty heated out there. It was certainly Sharp involved. Perhaps with Fiddler and Sims, I think. Sims really, you'll see it on this near side. In goes Sims and Sharp, there they are. Sims has a good nair at him, and then that was the end of it. Referee's now speaking to the respective participants in that duster.
The warning is that the yellow or the red card will come out very shortly if that continues, and Alan Sharp has no blood coming from the nose there. I'm not sure if that was a result of the fight.
Well, Dave Sims will probably claim it's a result of the fight and claim he's, you know, got a moral victory in it. But certainly that was the end of it. And certainly there was a bit more beforehand. I thought it was with Fiddler, perhaps, Dave Sims' locking partner. And certainly there was a few more than... I mean, he didn't get that from Dave Sims, that's for sure, because Dave Sims was actually, I think, playing the captaincy role more than anything else.
They're both hard men. Sharp has 6 caps for Scotland. Some argue that Sims should have been capped for England over the years. He's a very consistent performer in league rugby. Yes, it was initially with Fiddler, and then Sims getting involved. Well, at least Arwell Thomas found his touch this time. But it's still Gloucester ball. Nearly halfway through this second half, and Gloucester trailing by 2 points. Awkward bounce for everybody. Here's Dave Hinkins. Bristol put in. Gloucester having plenty of this second half in terms of territory. Still trailing in the match, though. Thomas. He's got a nice bounce there. Holford skirting with the touchline, but doing well, and Mapletoft completing the clearance.
Yes, well played, Paul Holford. Just kept it from going into touch. Would have been a very good kick indeed from Arwell Thomas.
Well, if it comes down to fitness, Gloucester will point to their full-time fitness coach, who they now employ. And also this season they've been seeing a psychologist, which is perhaps more relevant with the relegation trouble that faces them.
And this wasn't one of the greatest line-outs. Yes, it slipped out of Lathrop's hands, which didn't help the jumpers with their timing much, and the referee's saying, "I'll give you another chance at it."
Lathrop got it right that time. Barrow with the catch. No, he didn't get it right, because the throw-in wasn't straight. Gloucester will get the put into the scrum. Here's Stuart Barnes again.
Well, I think Gloucester might be using a psychologist, but I think they could do with a three-quarters coach at the moment. Richard Hill will be tearing out the remaining 3 hairs in his head. It's a bit of a mess at the moment. It's a real dogfight, but it's not pretty, is it?
They rarely have been, these matches. Bristol against Gloucester. And of course, it's the other way around today, with Gloucester getting home advantage. Maybe that will prove to be a little bit of a difference as the match goes on. But the home supporters are more frustrated than anything else at this stage of the match, and the maul being pulled down by Gloucester concedes another penalty.
Well, to be fair, the kick didn't deserve much better, because Kimber just seemed to hoof it straight down the middle of the field, and Gavin Sharp let it bounce about 3 or 4 times and eventually picked it up. But really, those tactics aren't going to get Gloucester anywhere.
Another shocking kick from Arwell Thomas, and no excuse there, because, of course, with it being a penalty, Bristol will get the throw into the line out. As it is, Mapletoft pushes Gloucester back towards halfway. I wonder what they're saying in the shed. none too complimentary, I would have thought. That's where the real supporters hang out. Thomas on the loop. That's better from Arwell Thomas. Little short ball from Hull didn't work. Ben Breeze has to try and rescue the situation. Referee will take them back for the knock-on.
Well, basic skills there, letting Bristol down through the backs. They couldn't get it down the back line, couldn't get it out to Ben Breeze, who, as I said before, when he gets the ball, has a real go. You've got to say that for Breeze on the right wing for Bristol.
Well, he's played 10 first-team games and scored 10 tries, so he's a good finisher. Another penalty, hands on the floor from Bristol.
Well, yes, hands on the floor, and certainly this another back row situation. Glanville goes past the ball. You can see hands on there, grovelling for the ball. And Gloucester have opted to go down the touchline and get deep in the territory, and dare I say it, but the hope is probably to get a penalty.
So, is this Gloucester's moment? Sims would be the favourite here. He's won just about everything that's gone to him in the line-out. Not that time. Raymond forced to clean up, but he's lost it. Awkward one for Arwell Thomas. Got away well, and now he's trying to run it out of defence, and it's been knocked forward. It won't count. Damien Cummins had a great chance to score. Arwell Thomas there playing with fire on his own line.
He certainly was, and he had time to clear with his left foot. We saw his left foot in the first half, and really, that is catchable from Cummins. You have to say that's a bad mistake. Look at the time he's got here to clear. Left foot, he's done it before, but he's decided to be adventurous.
Still pressure on Bristol, but it's their put in after that knock-on. It was a great chance. Will Gloucester look back on that moment and rue that moment at the end of this match? Bracken's pass, Thomas, no thoughts about running that time, but his kick doesn't find touch. This is Mapletoft, off to Holford. Gloucester scenting something here, but they've knocked it forward again. Referee clearly hasn't spotted that. And he's given Gloucester the put in, but I really think there was a knock-on before by Gloucester.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Brilliant play by Mapletoft to stay in field. That's the first thing to say. And it's Holford that goes through. But really, from Bristol's point of view, you'd expect somebody of Arwell Thomas's class to find touch and relieve the pressure.
It's controlled by Raymond.
Well, Gloucester have managed to stay down here once again. They've got to score from here. They've got to get something. Ideally, 7-pointer, trying a conversion. But they've got to get at least 3 to get on the board in front again.
Scott Benton waits. Bristol's response initially was good, but now Gloucester feel they might get a shove on here. But it's a bit crab-like, and it's Kimber off to Roberts. They use him on that crash ball, and he very rarely concedes possession. Kimber with a drop goal, it's there. Well, he's done it again as Martin Kimber. He keeps scoring drop goals. And that one could be the most important of the lot this season.
Well, it certainly might. He had all the time in the world. There was no problem with that one whatsoever. They've got the 3 points. They've got the lead. But the way this game is panning out, I bet you there's another couple of penalties yet from either side, given or awarded by the referee.
And Bristol have tried to catch Gloucester asleep here after that score. Pearson. And as Gloucester were congratulating themselves, Bristol going for something here. It's out to Ben Breeze. The cover was there and he was never going to get round all of them. There's a Gloucester man on the wrong side. And the referee has given the penalty, and Bristol have an immediate chance to hit back.
You have to say, well played Bristol. They caught Gloucester unawares straight from the restart from their penalty. They've been in disarray ever since. And certainly now, Bristol will reclaim, well, should reclaim the lead.
Yes, it was great thinking from the kick-off. Thomas saw the opportunity. There's certainly no lack of innovation about his game, always looking for something new. But now, this a regulation kick. To give Bristol the lead again. Well, Thomas. Bristol are back in front. Stuart.
Well, that was good play by Bristol, and they should learn a lesson there. That's the first piece of quick-witted play today. They didn't wait for the defence to get organised. A quick kick-off caught Gloucester missing. There's been too much safety-first rugby. Should be a reminder for both teams.
And it should be a good finish as well. 11 minutes plus injury time. That's better from Thomas. He's very much a confidence player, isn't he? When he's riding high, things seem to get better and better for him.
They gave him plenty of time. It was a dreadful kick-off from Kimber. I mean, straight down Arnold Thomas's throat in the 22-metre area, and all the time in the world. And he's put Gloucester back on their own 10-metre line, and Gloucester in bigger trouble now because Glanville does look in some jeopardy with an injury.
Glanville receives treatment. The referee says play on. Sims. Again, the line out wasn't straight. Touch judge was right in line, of course, that's why he's there. And it was a good decision from David May. Bracken's kick, Mapletoft's catch, and the mark to follow.
Just a bit far the kick, wasn't it, and gave Mapletoft the time. And this time he's missed his touch, and well, I don't know how many errors you want me to mention at any one time, but there's about 2 or 3 there that can comfortably be said, but it's paid off for Bristol. To be fair, it's Martin Corrie going back there, and you wonder where the fullback was, Paul Hull or Ben Breeze, the right winger, but it's paid off in Gloucester's favour.
Yes, a real bonus this for Gloucester. Tony Windows tied it in with a little help from his friends, and Sims is still having this running argument with Sharp, but the referee has given a penalty for offside in midfield.
Well, I said there'd be a couple more penalty chances. I think there could be a few more than that, and certainly Sims. There's Sharp and Sims. Now you see Sims puts his hand on, and Sharp takes exception to it and throws a bit of a haymaker, which the officials on the field decided not to see or didn't see, or the referee had already seen the midfield backs offside, and therefore Mapletoft, the new goal kicker, has this chance.
So straight back into the pressure situation for Mark Mapletoft. The crowd are willing it over, and they've got their wish. The pendulum swings back to Gloucester. It could be a winning kick, but the way things are going, I think there will probably be more kicks at goal, but Mark Mapletoft kept his cool. (15-14). Kimber.
Well, easier said than done that this game is obviously going to go to the wire, but easier said than done that Dave Sims just tells his players to keep cool and calm and play the game deep into Bristol's half.
Rob Fiddler's down. Now, there was a doubt about Fiddler taking part in this match because of that ankle injury. He turned over on an ankle last week, had to leave the field. He may well have aggravated that problem. Bristol want to get on with it. Is that in their interest? Fiddler's hobbling back towards the line out that he was never going to take part in. Another knock-on.
Good pressure from Gloucester. They burst through that line-out, and it was Greening that got hold of Bracken and flung him to the floor. The ball went loose, so it's going to be another scrum as well. But Greening was the one there doing his day job pretty well there, coming around the front. But really, that's Andy Deacon now, last year's captain, requires some treatment.
Only missed one game last season, Andy Deacon, when he led the side.
Well, the tap ball didn't go to hand. Bracken didn't fancy it one way, but didn't realise that Greening was coming up the t'other. And that ball thrown away. Could be said that Sharp came from offside position, but the ball went forward first, I suppose. But I think Kimber will put an up and under in here. He should do.
Well, he's probing the corners, and it's Hull who comes across. Got a kind bounce, actually.
Bad option, wasn't it? I mean, it gave Hull plenty of time. The ball set up for him. They've made 10 yards. They've got to win the line out and go from there again. But I suppose if they give a boy a penalty, they're not going to, Bristol aren't going to kick it from there.
Kimber will be thinking up and under, but also drop goal. The closer he gets, then Bristol will fear the Kimber boot.
They've lost the line out though. It's their throw.
And it's Thomas for Bristol. Max in there somewhere. Inside the final 5 minutes now. Well, that was useful, wasn't it? Not bad at all from Eben Rollitt. Showing his versatility. Look at this for a back row player.
One bounce in. We'll take the touchdown. Touch down here, please, and the line out down here. Now, Gloucester, if you do give away a penalty, you are in trouble. They're in trouble again because somebody's leaving the field.
It's Fiddler, who's having all kinds of problems from this ankle now. And warming up is Colin Gibson, who is the son of Mike Gibson, the famous former Ireland international. It's all too much for Fiddler. Himself the son of a famous ex-international, John Fiddler, who is team secretary here at Gloucester and is looking anxiously on as we speak now as his son leaves the field. Colin Gibson comes on. Of course, the klaxon will go and the timekeeper, as we now have encouraged league fixtures, decides that time is up, so the referee relieved of that particular pressure.
Well, just looking ahead a bit, even though this is a frantic finish and a desperate one for Gloucester's viewpoint, the injuries won't be any good news at all with Bath to come here on Wednesday night.
No, it's a difficult run-in for Gloucester. This a match that they identified they had to win, but will they? Thomas bringing in Gavin Sharp off the left wing. Bristol ball.
Well, Bristol are going to conjure something up in these last few minutes. They've got to get down there first of all. They haven't shown great running skills, that's for sure.
Here's Hull. Ben Breeze will chase. Across comes Mapletoft. Has to be safety first from him, but at the gap, with the gap just 1 point now. Bristol well within range here.
Well, I think Gloucester have got to adopt the attitude, we'll let them have the ball. If there's any element of risk, let them have the ball, and let's rely on our defence, let's rely on our tackling and our spirit to win this game and see out this last 2 or 3 minutes, because this, I would imagine, will be Bristol's last chance.
There should be a fair deal of injury time, to be fair, but here's Bracken, this is Thomas, again trying that double miss move in the centre. Poor Hull goes through, Holford has read it well. The left winger there had got across.
And done remarkably well, because it was a wickedly bouncing ball. It really was, it wasn't conventional at all. Look at the ball, look at the way it's going, it could go anywhere, and that technique, oh, he just got there, he would be a very thankful man.
Good pick up from Kimber. He just wanted to get the ball downfield. Breeze. And Kimber chasing through, misses the tackle. Ben Breeze beating 2 men and 3 now, still going on. Bracken, Thomas. Bristol can sniff something out wide, but at no stage of the game, apart from when they scored the try, have they moved the ball in a fluid fashion across the back line. And there is another penalty, hands on the floor. Any thoughts on man of the match?
Yes, indeed, I think there's been some very good play by Glanville of Gloucester, certainly, but Dave Sims, the Gloucester captain, is my man of the match. He's ruled the roost in the line-out without question. He's talked to his troops, he's demanded best of them, he's made his tackles, he's been good at the loose play, obviously done his hard graft from the scrummage as well in the engine room, and he, to me, has been the outstanding player on the field today.
Well, Sims, who scored a try in this fixture last season, will now just be hoping that this kick goes over.
I'm just surprised they've gone for the option. I would have drilled it down the touchline. It's our throw, they could have said. We can control it. Why go for goal? It could end up short. Counter-attack possibilities from Bristol. They can kill the game dead by drilling it into the shed, taking their time the line out, finding Sims and doing a rolling maul from there. This has an element of risk to it.
So with that in mind, Mapletoft must kick and kick well. Has he got the length? Oh, he has! Richard Hill can afford a smile, so can Mark Mapletoft. The gap is 4 points, but the game is not over. Bristol again looking for that quick kick-off. Glanville drives on. Now it's Benton off to Kimber. Poor Hull just ambles across, he wants the ball to go dead, it does. We're well into injury time.
Well, this could be the saving grace for Gloucester this season. It puts Bristol, I think, down in the relegation dogfight themselves. Gloucester will be on 8 points, Bristol are only on 10. They might give Gloucester a lift for next Wednesday's visit to Bath.
Well, Bristol have lost 4 in a row. They could well make it 5 in a row. They've been slipping down themselves. Now, Gloucester have been caught going around on the wrong side there. That's a penalty to Bristol. Brian Hanlon and his Bristol team. And also along with Alan Davis now, they've got problems. Bracken. Good run from Kieran Bracken. Now does he have the final say? Oh, he just had one to beat and Mapletoft got there. Mapletoft may have been hurt. It's Hull. Corrie off to Hinkins. Kieran Bracken almost did it by himself. Now he looks to release Thomas. Off to Rollitt. Thomas again. The referee does go back for the knock-on, and indeed Mark Mapletoft was hurt in that challenge with Kieran Bracken, and Mapletoft is out of it here. He can't play any role, the full-back, as Bristol drive on. What a rousing finish to the game. It's Corrie. Now, who gets the foot in? Gloucester do.
Well, a rousing finish, as you rightly say, and Mapletoft is in real trouble at the back here for Gloucester. I don't think he knows where he is. Marvellous break by Bracken, superb break by Bracken, and really it's given Bristol a glimmer of a hope. And whoever the man is with the hooter in the stand here, the people around us wanted to go pretty darn quickly.
Well, there was Kieran Bracken trying to take on everybody. There was just one man left when he got through, and that was Mark Mapletoft, and that's where he was hurt, got one in the face. The klaxon still to go. 4 minutes plus now of injury time. And the scrum going round beyond 90 degrees, which will cause the referee to bring the match to the end, but Gloucester wanted a victory for the home side. Dave Sims, inspirational. Mark Mapletoft coming on at the end and playing his part. He replaced Gareth Fenwick and he kicked well. And Gloucester, who have such ambitious plans here, the development of the ground, an 18,000 all-seater stadium, but it all rests on First Division involvement, and this victory will help in their aim to stay in the top flight. Gloucester win the local dispute against Bristol, and this defeat for Bristol sends alarm bells ringing at the Memorial Ground, because Bristol themselves aren't out of it just yet. Gloucester had to win, and they did. This the final score: Gloucester 18, Bristol 14. Dave Sims, our man of the match, is with Graham.
Miles, thank you very much. No points for artistic merit at this stage of the season. 2 points, though, more than welcome.
Definitely, we knew if we didn't win that one today, it was basically the season over, and we desperately wanted it.
You must have worried at some stages, Dave, whether you were going to turn it round, because Bristol were ahead for a long time.
I know they came back well after this, you know, the defeat they had against Bath last week, and full credit to them. They gave 120%. It was a typical derby, you know, a lot of hard work, nothing pretty, but 2 points at the end of the day. So.
From a personal point of view, you were our man of the match today. I mean, an immaculate performance. You're getting better the older you get.
Oh, I'm not that old yet. I'm only 26, so hopefully, get a cap next year if I keep working.
Good luck to you. Well played today.
Thanks very much. Cheers.